Hey guys, this video, I'm going to be reviewing Arrow 101, the pilot, literally the show that started it all. I'm going to be reviewing the pilot of Arrow. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe for new notifications down before we get into the review. If you don't follow me on Twitter and you have no idea why I'm doing this, there's not really a reason. I wanted to review every single episode of Arrow because I started this channel after Arrow was done, obviously. Now, I've seen all of Arrow several times, but I've wanted to do these reviews just to kind of share my thoughts on these episodes. And because I haven't been able to do that with Arrow, you know, I figured what better chance than now with no shows on, at least till October. But even then, there's 170 episodes of Arrow, which means it's going to be 170 reviews of Arrow from me, because I'm going to be reviewing every single episode of Arrow. Now, these are generally, hopefully, going to be up on Mondays. This is up on Tuesday night because I had to push it back from Monday night. Some stuff came up in my life. I had to push it back. But generally, these reviews will be up on Monday night. So it might be an occasion too where it's up Tuesday night. I will let you guys know over on Twitter, my Discord server, or on the YouTube community posts that it will be pushed back in a certain week if that does so happen. But yeah, I hope you guys are excited, and this is that thing I was talking about months ago. I've been playing this for a while, so yeah. Let's get right into the review. So, it opened up with Oliver running through Leon Yu, running through the forest, that classic scene that we've seen several times. Oliver shoots a fire arrow, causing a big explosion to get both attention, to, you know, the people that saved them get off the island. You can see Deathstroke's mask with an arrow through the eye, one of the eyes. Oliver was a regular billionaire douchebag. I mean, you know, he's like Bruce Wayne in a sense, but, you know, arguably a lot worse, or at least in that kind of sense. 20% of his body was scar tissue. Obviously, that has changed over the course of Arrow, but it's been a lot worse, but he had burn marks and bone fractures that have never fully healed. Moira and Oliver reunite. Oliver returns to the Queen Mansion. Walter Steele, which is so sad to me that we only got Walter for like 3 seasons, and then that was it. I wish we got more, especially in the final season. Would have been really cool to see, but he was obviously Robert Queen's friend, and he's now married, I think it is, to Moira at this point in time. Thea and Oliver reunite as well. Laurel, Yanny? If you know, you know. If you don't know, well, it's not funny then. Laurel is a lawyer, and they're trying to sue Adam Hunt. And Laurel has been working this case for a while. She has a whole board of Adam Hunt, connecting him to all these crimes that he's done. I mean, that's just not, you know, a day or two's worth of work. This is a, you know, a lot. This has been planned to, you know, the T pretty much to get him in prison. Laurel sees a new support of Oliver's return and mentions that Sarah died and that she was that Oliver was the only survivor. Everyone else died. And so Laurel shuts the TV off and she's obviously pissed off at Oliver. Oliver said he doesn't recognize a lot of things, including himself, that he used to recognize. Whether that's a metaphor or not, he is a completely different person from what he was before the Gambit. You can see that really shine in the pilot alone. I mean, just how people talk about Oliver and all that, it really shows, even before he really did the action stuff, you can really see the differences in the Oliver pre-Gambit and post-Island. You can see the 2 different Olivers that we have here. Then it goes back to a flashback with Oliver, Robert, Sarah Lance, and the crew on the Queen's Gambit, where a crew member's telling Robert that there's a big storm coming in and that they need to head back to shore because it can be really dangerous for the Gambit and people could die if it doesn't go well. Then we go back to present day, and Tommy Merlin walks in, sees Oliver. Obviously, Tommy's Oliver's best friend. Tommy's going to take Oliver around the city, and they're having dinner. Reza appears, who we've seen several times throughout Arrow, especially in season 6. I think she made a return. I don't remember about season 2, but I know she returned a lot in season 6 with William. She was helping out in that department. But we learned that Oliver had learned Russian, and his reflexes are a lot better than what they were. Obviously, this is time away during those 5 years. Oliver left dinner early because just a lot has happened. He just got back. He wants to rest a little bit. Oliver is sleeping and started having nightmares. It goes back to the Queen Gambit, and the Gambit starts being taken out by the storm. Like, it's like right over the Gambit, it starts taking it out. Everyone's lost at sea. Oliver, Robert, and a crew member made it to a life raft, and they're assuming Sarah's dead because she got sucked under with the boat. So they're assuming she's dead, because there's no possible way she could be after that. Moira wakes up Oliver, and he attacks her. He's freaked out and just like flips Moira onto the ground, and he's feeling really bad about it. Which again, amazing actor from Steven, but I mean, that was expected, honestly, but Oliver, when they came to the Queen Mansion, had like a green suitcase, or green, whatever. He opened that up, and it had his hood in there, and it had the list, which, if you know what it is, the name of the people on it that Robert put down, as people who failed his city. He gave it to Oliver, and Oliver's going to use that to save the city, or try to, at least. Oliver gives Speedy, he calls her Speedy, a hosen as a symbol of reconnection, which is reused several times throughout the show. I think it was from Oliver to Thea to Roy to William, and then back to Roy, I think. I don't remember the exact pattern of that, but the point is, it was used a lot throughout the show, and I'm glad it was. It was a very good thing that was reused throughout the show a lot. Tommy takes Oliver out into the city, and Tommy wants to throw a party for Oliver's revival, because everyone thought he was dead, so obviously he's back from the dead. Oliver sees an old Queen Industry building. It's run down. You can tell it's kind of hasn't been used in a long time. Oliver wants to see Laurel, who is the one person who's not happy she's back, or he's back. Laurel blames Oliver for Sarah dying. He knows she is right. And then Oliver and Tommy are leaving the area, and they get kidnapped by like 4 guys, I think it was, in mass. Possibly 3 or 4. In red masks with those creepy faces. Then it goes back to the raft with Oliver, Robert, and a crew member on it. Robert said he failed the city along with tons of others who have failed it. In that, he wants Oliver to right his wrongs and all that. Then we go back to present day, or at least in this episode, present day. One of the guys in the red mask is tasing Oliver. Oliver's hands are tied up to the chair, which we all know how that ends with Oliver, but Oliver broke free and started killing the guys because he just revealed that he's going full Jim Lee over there, and you can't really do that. 2 of them were dead, and he started chasing the third, and it was a really good action scene. The camera work was amazing, especially for the pilot. I wasn't really sure what I was expecting, but it was really good. It wasn't a step up, compared to what we got in the later seasons, but you gotta realize this is in 2012. This has never really been done before with what Arrow's doing, especially with what Arrow did with Steven, just bringing in a character without superpowers from, rip-off of Smallville. Not really rip-off, but you know what I mean? Like, this has never been done before. So for Arrow to be able to do all this stuff that it did in its time was really good. Even now, it's still mind-blowing how well Arrow was done compared to Smallville, Flash, Supergirl, Superman and Lois. I mean, none of those shows really came close to the action stuff that Arrow had throughout its entire show. You might disagree with that, but, Then we go to Queen Mansion, and Quentin Lance and Frank Pike, I think it is. Those 2 were talking to Oliver and Tommy about being kidnapped, and Oliver tells Quentin that a man in a green hood came in and saved them, and that he used it as an excuse because Tommy was still unconscious. He wasn't really, he had been knocked out. So it was a good excuse and a good cover-up, too, that Oliver didn't just, do all that. He had an excuse, and he was a Green Hood. Oliver is looking into Adam Hunt, and Adam Hunt is on Oliver's list, or Robert's list that Oliver's using. Reza is looking in on Oliver and says that he's changed, and that a little bit. She can tell that he changed, but he still has a good heart like he did then. He still wants to do the right thing no matter what. John Diggle's introduced, and he's obviously Oliver's bodyguard, and tells Oliver that he can call him Dig, and that he was ex-military. He's been part of the private secretary or secret servant, whatever, for 4 years at the time. Oliver snuck out of Dig's car. It was a funny scene. Oliver goes to the Queen Industry building that he looked at earlier that was all run down, and he starts making his own lair there. He's making his own arrows, training, working out, and getting his bow out of the crate that he brought back with him that we saw early in the episode as well. And he starts shooting tennis balls, that really classic scene that's just turned into, everything pretty much for Arrow. That's reused so many times. Where he's shooting tennis balls. Hunt has been bullying and bribing people who get in his way. But if you get in his way, you're going to get bribed, bullied, or you're going to get shot. It's one of those things. And Laura was on his hit list. He was going to go after her for suing him. And, that never really played out too well in his favor, but at least as far as I'm aware. Could always change, though. He didn't die, so... Oliver plans to, quote-unquote, introduce himself, obviously not as Oliver Queen, but as a hood, or as a green hoodie, person. Oliver shoots a light, shoots, I think he shot an arrow and the lights came off, but he turned the lights off and attacked Hunt's guards. Oliver threatens Adam Hunt to put $40 million into a bank account by 10 p.m. the next night, or he will take it by force, and then shoots an arrow next to Hunt, purposely missing, to prove a point on some case that if he doesn't, well, he's going to do something, and he's not going to play around then. Adam Hunt then went to the police with Quinn and Frank Pike about the Green Hood with the bow and arrow, and they come to the conclusion that Oliver's telling the truth. Which they didn't really believe him. I don't blame them. He's a liar. He's a rich billionaire with issues, Why wouldn't you, no lie, you're not going to believe him, but they believe him now that there's more people backing it up. Instead of just Oliver saying that, there's another person saying that. Then we go to Queen Mansion again, and Dig's car is outside ready to take Oliver to the party, and Dig is sitting in the back because he doesn't want to let Oliver out of his sight. Then we actually go to the party, and Oliver has a timer on his phone, and it's, an hour before 10 p.m., which is the time zone for when Emma is supposed to deliver the $40 million into that bank account. So just in case Adam Hunt didn't, he was ready to go. Oliver was ready to go at 10 p.m. Oliver's party was right across the street from Adam Hunt's office, which Oliver had planned. He asked Tommy to move the party there, which we find out later in the episode. Oliver sees Thea getting drugs, which we learned early in the episode, I'm pretty sure that she was dealing drugs. But now we know she's actually getting them as well. Thea's underage for the party. She's 17, which, you can't be drinking or anything like that. You're not supposed to be. Oliver took Thea's drugs, and without her knowing, and Dig saw it, and he saw him throw it in the trash. I wish there was a scene there where Dig was saying something to Oliver about doing that. It wouldn't be anything bad. It would have been a nice, wholesome scene. I think it would have been really cool to have that. I was kind of hoping we'd see one, but, I think Dig knows that Oliver does care about Thea on some level, and that he's trying to protect her. I think he knows that even then. Obviously, he knows that now, but, then I think he saw a little bit of that overprotective brother or not really overprotective. To us, it's not overprotective, but to Thea he is. But, I think they kind of saw that shine in Oliver in that moment. Tommy invited Laura to talk to Oliver, and Laura apologized to Oliver for saying the rude things. She said to him about, it's his fault that Sarah died and all that. And Oliver's timer on his phone goes off, telling him to go to Adam Hunt as the Hood to force him to throw over that $40 million. And Oliver's trying to push Laura away, saying that he hasn't changed. He's a lot worse. Stay away from him. And then Oliver starts to lead the party, and Dig is waiting for him in that hallway, telling him to go back to the party that's the other way. And Dig knows Oliver's full of crap because Oliver's like he wants to be alone or something. And then Oliver knocks Dig out while he's trying to open the door. And the new head security for Adam Hunt locks the place down because his men were able, the PD wait outside of Hunt's building because they're expecting him to go through the front door or the back door, or any floor entrance. So then we see a grappler arrow shoot onto the wall next to on one of the top floors of the Hunt's building. And Oliver shuts the lights off, takes down the 4 guards around the elevator outside of his office, and then takes on the 2 protecting Adam Hunt. Hunt's head security starts fighting Oliver, and then Adam Hunt calls the police department and tells them the Hood is there, and they all start moving in alongside Quinn and Frank Pike, and they're all heading up to Hunt's office. Oliver got shot, I think a few times or something, and then he got a shot off on the head security guard that shot him, and they both went down, and Oliver's hood was off. He didn't have a mask at this time. It was just like eye paint or whatever. Really good superhero suit. If you want to be a vigilante, just get green paint and a green hoodie. Put that on. There you go. Be good at archery and you're good. I could just imagine people actually trying to do that. Seriously injured would be hilarious. I mean, if they died, it wouldn't be hilarious. It would be a little bit, but it'd be hilarious to see someone get injured trying to be like the Green Arrow, be like Stephen Amell with green face paint or whatever. I don't know. I just think it'd be funny seeing that in real life, but someone actually trying to fight crime, and then they just get seriously injured, and it's all over the news. Guy put on green face paint, wore a green hood, thought he was good at archery, but he really wasn't. That'd be hilarious. Although, again, if he died, it really wouldn't be, but it'd be somewhat funny if someone tried to do that. No, in this world, I wouldn't be surprised if someone did try to do that. Nonetheless, Oliver snapped out of it, pulled his hood back up, and jumped out the window when the PD came back in. And then he starts heading away from everything, and then the PD go to Oliver's party, and Oliver's there. He's all good, and to say that he was there. Quinn tries to push Oliver over the edge by saying that he killed his daughter and all that. Oliver sets the party up again, and Oliver asks Tom to get his party moved to the Hunt building, or near the Hunt building, which I mentioned earlier, but this is when we found out. Tommy can tell Oliver has really changed. Adam Hunt lost $40 million. Now, before Oliver got knocked out, and that whole scene happened, Oliver shot an arrow next to Adam Hunt, but it didn't hit him. It went into the wall. That arrow managed to, take the $40 million that Oliver could then transfer to a bank account, whatever bank account it was. And so, yeah, then it goes back to the life raft. There isn't enough food and water for all of them. There's 3 of them in that life raft. There isn't enough food. So Robert tells Oliver to make it home, right his wrongs, shoots a crew member, tells Oliver to survive, and then shoots himself in the head in front of Oliver. And Oliver watches the entire thing. Then it goes back to present day. Laura and the other lawyers got phone calls from their clients about that $40 million that they can use against Adam Hunt. And then Tommy and Laurel start talking again. Tommy and Laura have been together on and off, and Laurel then starts walking away, and the camera pans up, and you see Oliver looking over them over a balcony-esque area, like a fire escape, and then it goes back to the raft, and Oliver sees Leonie, which is a beautiful shot, by the way, and it goes back to present day again, and we learned that Moira arranged for Oliver to be kidnapped alongside Tommy, but it wasn't really planned for Tommy. It was just to get Oliver to see what he's really been through on while he was away for those 5 years. Obviously that didn't pan out, but you know. So look, my thing is that I don't really care for pilots. And I don't just show off a pilot. I don't know if it's because I've seen all of Arrow or not. I don't remember my initial reactions to a pilot for Arrow. I spent so long since I watched it last, but I really liked it. You know, again, I've seen all of Arrow. You know, it's been a long time since I've seen all of it. Like a good 6 months, which for me is a long time because I don't remember what I did yesterday. Frankly, I have a short-term memory thing. But like I said, I don't really care for pilots. I just don't. The only pilot I really loved was Superman and Lois' pilot, probably because it was longer than normal pilot. And I did kind of like the Flash pilot. It wasn't perfect, but it also wasn't bad either, you know. It's kind of in between those two things. Good and bad, but the Arrow pilot in its time was really good. I'm really curious if the Arrow pilot was airing now with everything that we've gotten the past several years with technology. I wonder what they could do with that pilot. Could they amp it up some? They could do more action scenes. I'm really curious. I really want to see that happen, though. I really want to see a new, Arrow pilot. Just, to see what they can do with the technology they have now. But at the same time, I really don't, because it is really cool to go back, 10 years. Nearly 10 years. It's going to be 10 years in October. And to see what the cast and the crew managed to actually pull off on a 2012 Supergirl show. Which in its time, the only show that's done it before this was Smallville. And even then, it didn't have the stuff that even the pilot had. I mean, the action scenes, the camera work, that was never done in Smallville, from what I remember. Or any other show besides Flash 90s, which again, that action stuff wasn't really done in that show either. So, Arrow really sets mark as a really good Supergirl show. I think one of the best Supergirl shows out there, next to The Flash and someone else, but Arrow really stood its ground in the first season, let alone the pilot. It's probably why it lasts for 8 years. But yeah, I'll be back next week for 102 review, where I review 102 of Arrow. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day, have a good night, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.